devil have some daddy issues, you're going to be one of the two main characters in this movie of your life. Taking care of the inner you is going to be a job or work that is going to continue forever and ever. Amen. Your spouse comes after God. You cannot have a stronger or deeper relationship, or a relationship that you value more than you value your spouse. Some people's marriages have dissolved, or some marriages are in trouble because of friends or family members. If one of the things that I remember my husband telling me while we're still dating, and I've never forgotten this, if your body is reminded of the traumatic experiences that may affect or negatively impact your marriage or your sexual intimacy, especially when it comes to exes, you have no business being friends with your ex, because some exes are jealous, some exes have some bitterness that they can try to mask or cover, and that can bring you down. The moment you say I do, that is when the work starts. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about those ladies who are preparing to get married and want to know how they can spice up, or how they can prepare to spice up their intimacy in their brand new marriage as they get ready to tie the knot, as they get ready to walk into this beautiful, amazing phase of their life. Okay, it's all about preparation. Before I get into the details of this video, my name is Nokie. I'm the author of Spice It Up. It's time to revive your intimacy. I want to ask you for a favor before I go on. If you can click the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and remember to ring that notification bell so that you don't miss any of the future videos that I'll continue bringing to you. Yes, it's all about intimacy. It's all about preparation. You know, in business we say preparation and planning will determine the outcome or the result of whatever you are about to endeavor in. Same goes with marriage. As you get ready to walk into this matrimony, there are a few things that I want to bring to your attention in order to help you with your preparation. You may be getting married within the next 3 months, within the next 6 months, within the next year or two. This video is still relevant for you. If you are already married, I encourage you to continue watching, because who knows, you may learn a thing or two about what I'm going to share with these amazing wives to be. Okay, I jotted a few topics that I want to cover in this video. I have my phone. I don't want to miss any of the topics that I think will be very important for these beautiful, amazing wives to be. Make yourself comfortable, get some water or whatever you're drinking. I got my water here. So as you prepare to get married, there are some things that I want you to really focus on and think about and work on. Some of the things you can work on before you get married, and some of the things you literally have to do them once you are inside your marriage. But there's no harm in learning and preparing, and I encourage you to continue coming back to this channel to learn whatever you can learn, to get some ideas on how you can spice it up. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is communication. Oh my goodness, there is so much that goes into communication, and the way you are communicating now, if it is good, you need to strive to make it better than what it is now, because in marriage you'll need to communicate more than what you're doing right now, especially with this person sharing the same space and everything. There's this tendency or the risk of getting too familiar with somebody. I really do want to discourage you from getting too familiar with your spouse. What do I mean by that? I want you to always make it a point that you are working on your communication skills. And communication is not just verbal. Communication is just not about saying words. Communication means you are listening very attentively to your spouse. You are listening very well, and not only listening, but you're also understanding what your spouse is saying. Don't get into the habit of making assumptions, because at times, especially women, we have a tendency of assuming things. There's a danger in that, because whatever you may be, if it was not spoken, or if it was not demonstrated, or if it was not verbally said, and we assume whatever it is we are assuming, we could be wrong. So you want to make sure that you avoid the temptation of making assumptions because there's a danger in making assumptions. And I learned in the last few years that making assumptions is actually a character flaw. Whose character? You as a person who's making an assumption, that's a flaw in your character, because in most cases you'll realize whatever it is that we are assuming, it could be totally wrong. So I want to discourage you as a wife to be from making assumptions about your spouse or the things that you think are on his mind. I want to encourage verbal communication. I know that they say women speak more than men, which obviously is true, but what I really want to stress is make sure you understand whatever your spouse is trying to communicate to you, and there's nothing wrong with asking for clarification if you do not understand. Actually, I think I'm going to go into detail in a separate video about expressing your feelings through communication, because this topic can be very, very broad, and there's so many forms of communication, especially us as women. Our body language can communicate. Anything that we do can communicate whatever it is that we want to communicate at that point in time. So I want you to be very good in your communication. Like I said, if you're good now, make sure that you strive to get better. Keep on working on your communication. Okay? All right. Moving on to the second thing that I want to touch on, which is expectations. And by the way, these are in no particular order. Some of them might be piggybacking from the other points that I would have mentioned. Okay, let's talk about expectations. Many times us as women, especially the younger women, go into the marriage with some kind of expectations. Some expectations can be so unrealistic. Some expectations can be like Cinderella expectations, like out of the ordinary, out of the norm. We may have this vision that is like, you think you're walking into this wonderful life. Yes, it is wonderful. Marriage is beautiful, but you want to be real. You're going to be doing life, real life, full time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're going to be one of the two main characters in this movie of your life. I want you to have realistic expectations. Do not be expecting roses every single week. That is not going to happen. Well, you may even go for years or months without even getting flowers. I tell you, some wives have never even gotten flowers ever since they've been married, but that's okay, because it's not all about that. So I want you to focus on your relationship more than on these materialistic things, because some expectations can be out of the ordinary. So you want to make sure that your expectations are realistic. Your expectations for yourself especially. Actually, I want to encourage you to live to your own expectations. Do not be overburdening or overloading your spouse, your husband, with these unrealistic expectations, especially when it comes to material things. You want to make sure that you're not burdening this guy that you are marrying. It's good to have expectations, but make sure that those expectations are realistic. Do not expect that because Susie's marriage is going on vacation every 3 months or every month they are going somewhere. Don't expect that to be the same with your marriage. You may be starting off with a different budget from Susie and Andy's, so you have to make sure that you live your own life, have realistic expectations, and live up to your own standards and your own expectations. Express your desires. There's absolutely nothing wrong with expressing your desires, but do not have unrealistic expectations, especially when it comes to things that require money. Okay, moving on to the third thing that I want to touch on. Like I said, they are not in any particular order. As a wife to be, I want to encourage you, and I mentioned this in my book, Spice It Up. I encourage you to pick it up. If you can read that book before you get married, that will really help you a lot, and I'm going to leave the details in the description box below. The book is available on Amazon. You need to have good self-care. By self-care, I mean physically, internally, emotionally. You have to take good care of yourself. Yes, appearance and all, you may be looking all classy, all clean and all, but are you really clean, like from the inside? I want you to take care of yourself from the inside, from your mind. Are you feeding yourself with good things in your mind? Are you feeding yourself with things that are going to help build your marriage? Are you taking care of your inner you? Because taking care of the inner you is going to help you be a better or a an amazing wife, and it is a work that is going to have to continue. Taking care of the inner you is going to be a job or work that is going to continue forever and ever. Amen. You need to continue taking care of yourself from the inside, because there's no need for you to look all put together when actually inside you are a mess. That could mean watching what you eat, making sure you're keeping up with those vitamins, multivitamins for women, whatever supplements you're taking. Take care of yourself from the inside out. What we see outside is actually a reflection at times of what is inside. However, some people have a tendency of just masking their outside look, and yet inside it's a mess, whether it's emotionally or your internal health. You need to take care of yourself from the inside. Actually, that is part of self-care. Take care of your mind. Keep a sharp mind. You gotta be smart. You have to maintain that smartness or that brilliance that you have. That reason why he's marrying you, you have to keep working at that and keep at it. Some women make the mistake once they put the ring on and they cut the cake, the wedding cake, and they exchange their vows. Once they walk into that home, they think it is relaxation time. Actually, that is when the work starts. The moment you say I do, that is when the work starts. The work for your physical health, for your mental health, for your spiritual health, for your emotional health. You have to take care of yourself. One of the things that I remember my husband telling me while we're still dating, and I've never forgotten this, is working out. You don't even need to have a gym membership for this. You can take a walk, you can walk on the treadmill, do some exercises. Stay fit. Men want a fit woman. Stay fit, because that is going to play a huge role when it comes to intimacy. When it comes to sexual intimacy, sis, I tell you, you'll need to be physically fit, because you are, like I mentioned in my book, you do not just want to lay dead flat like a log. You don't want to be a dead log in your bed. You want to participate. You want to be active. That will mean that you are physically fit, that you are mentally fit, that you are emotionally fit, that you are there so that you can connect with your husband in a deeper level. You can connect with your husband spiritually, and it will take you being fit in all areas of your life. In your appearance, you need to look good, feel good, be good, and that way you are going to exude some amazing energy, and this will go a long way in elevating or spicing up your sex. I cannot stress this enough. You gotta maintain good self-care. I have a video that is detailed about the self-care, like the physical appearance and all. I'm going to link it up here somewhere, and that is one of the longest chapters in my book. It's important for you to take good care of yourself. You're going to be sharing a bed with somebody. You're going to be intimate with somebody. You need to respect them by being clean and being healthy in every single way, because I believe that some husbands cannot do everything that they desire. They cannot explore your body as much as they do, because some women are just gross. Some women just don't have the cleanliness for the men to give them that oral sex that they desire to give them, which, by the way, can work wonders in your intimacy. Okay, trust me, once you get into it and once you start doing it, send me a message and tell me, hey Nokie, you were so right. And by the way, let me stop here for a moment and tell you the good news that now I am offering one-on-one coaching. Yes, I am. Some of the ladies who read Spice It Up wrote to me, DM me, they send me messages. They say they want one-on-one coaching sessions on how they can elevate their sexual intimacy, and I'm here for it. I am now offering those one-on-one coaching sessions. I'm going to leave the details in the description box, and these are divided into two categories. There's the Spice Up Your Intimacy for people who are already married, who've been married, or people who are having specific challenges in their marriage sexually. You're going to see the link that you're supposed to click. And then for those who are getting ready to be married, the ones ones who I'm talking to in this video, there's a separate link for you, and I give you 90 minutes, 90 minutes of my time going step by step on how you can prepare to be a wife who is not just hot, but who pleases both herself and her husband. So you want to walk in with the expertise that you need to be that hot, sexy girl in bed. I want you to click the relevant link. Go ahead and book a session with me. I'm very, very excited for this new venture. This is my calling. This is what I'm passionate about, and I'm jumping all in. And as time goes on, I'm also going to be offering group sessions with a targeted topic. But right now, I'm doing one-on-one sessions. Click the right link and book a session with me, or send me an email on the email address that is appearing on the screen right now. I'm very excited about the coaching sessions. Okay, let's move on. Now, as you prepare to get married, and I hope you and your spouse are going through some premarital counseling, and this is one of the things that I hope that whoever is counseling you, your counselor or your pastor, is going to cover this in detail. When it comes to friends and family, once you get married, remember it's gonna be God first and then your spouse. Once you have children, children will be third, and then everybody else, friends, they come later. Your spouse comes after God. You cannot have a stronger or deeper relationship, or a relationship that you value more than you value your spouse. Some people's marriages have dissolved, or some marriages are in trouble because of friends or family members. I want you to know that friends and family do not take priority over your husband. Your husband is the most important, of course, after God. God is the most important, and then your spouse. Friends, family will be after your children. Let me give you a few examples. You cannot have friends calling you any time of the night, maybe asking you to meet somewhere or needing help, and your husband is not involved in it. Your husband has to be involved. Of course, there are emergencies, and when there are emergencies, of course, you and your husband will be in a position to go and help out with that emergency. However, this hanging out with friends every weekend and all those other people for no apparent reason, leaving your spouse out, that has to end. You have to know your priorities. Now your priority is going to be focusing on your marriage. It is going to be focusing on the man in your life, your spouse. You're going to be all in. Yes, you want to go all in your marriage. So some of these relationships that are not going to serve your marriage well, you want to put them on hold, or whatever the case is, your spouse has to come after God, and then your children, everybody else, your mama, your papa, your grandma, your auntie, nieces, cousins, co-workers, bosses, friends, all those, they cannot be at the top of the list when it comes to your relationships or nurturing your relationships. Get that right, because some friends, especially friends who are, as you are getting married, there are some friends who may still be single, and some may not be wishing you well, and some may not have good intentions. Even relatives, you may have aunties who do not even have good intentions for you and your spouse. So you have to be very discerning. You have to be very smart, pay attention, and handle those relationships accordingly. Whatever you do, make sure that you keep your husband in the loop, okay? I'm sorry, but guy friends, for those of you who have guy friends, those friends might just have to dissolve. If they are couples, then that's okay. Then you can be friends together with your husband. Make sure that you get that right, because at times there might be some gray areas when it comes to female and male friendships, especially when it comes to exes. You have no business being friends with your ex, because some exes are jealous, some exes have some bitterness that they can try to mask or cover, and that can bring you down, and that can destroy your marriage. Okay, sis? Get that and get it right. Finally, number 5, and this will help, especially if you have more time before you get married. Well, even when you get married, I encourage you to go for therapy. There's nothing embarrassing about therapy. Why am I encouraging you to go for therapy? And this, again, this particular topic I'm about to get into is going to be a whole different video on its own coming up soon. The reason why you want to go for therapy is there's a lot of people, both men and women, who experience some trauma when they were young, and this trauma comes in different forms. Some people were sexually abused, some people were touched in inappropriate ways. Some people were molested, which is still sexual assault. Some people experience neglect. Some people have some daddy issues. That means either their daddy was this character that was so scary, or the daddy was not in their life at all. Especially in girls, this can really affect girls as they get into their marriages. The reason why you need therapy, you want to make sure that you overcome all those things that you experienced when you were young, especially if you face some sexual trauma. We know sexual trauma can really affect the way you are intimate with your husband. Most of you, I hope you've been celibate until the time that you get married. Some of you, it will be your first time experiencing sexual intimacy with your spouse, and this may be a bit traumatic to your body because you are not sure, which is why I really encourage you to book a session with me so that I can walk you through all this. I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, but there are things that I can help you overcome, that I can walk you step by step, or that we can come up with a plan to help you overcome those things. Sexual trauma, when it comes to sexual intimacy, can really be a deal breaker, because some people, especially, well, both men and women, but in this case I'm talking to ladies. Some ladies who have experienced sexual trauma, that experience for them, there was nothing good about it. It was traumatic, and as a result, that traumatic experience resulted in them being maybe promiscuous or having a totally negative view about sexual intimacy, which is not good when you get into a marriage, because now you're going to have to be available wholeheartedly and fully for your husband and yourself. You're going to be exposing yourself, exposing your body to your spouse. This may bring those memories of those traumatic experience memories, and this is where therapy comes in. You want to make sure that by the time you walk into your marriage, or during the first few months or years of your marriage, you really work hard to overcome that or those traumatic experiences that you went through. For some, it's multiple experiences. For some, it was just one, and it was horrible, and it is messing up the way they think about intimacy to an extent that their body just tenses up when it comes to sexual intimacy. And yet you are getting into a long-term, lifetime relationship where you're supposed to be very relaxed, where you're supposed to be thoroughly enjoying the moments with your spouse. You're supposed to give your all to him, relaxed. Your mind has to be there, your emotions have to be there. You have to connect with him in a very special way. If your body is reminded of the traumatic experiences, that may affect or negatively impact your marriage or your sexual intimacy. So I encourage you to go for therapy, whether you remember anything or not. Even if you think you are in a healthy state of mind, therapy is good for everybody. Therapy is good for, you don't, whatever it is you experience, just to make sure that you are prepared. I encourage you go for therapy. There's nothing embarrassing, there's nothing shameful about therapy these days. It's something that we should all be participating in, so that we are better people. And this way, as you walk into that marriage, you're walking in as a full, capable individual who is whole, who is healthy. Talking about whole, that's another thing that I want to touch on. As you walk into that marriage, make sure that you are whole. You are whole spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, because that goes back to those expectations. You cannot go in with this mindset and this lie that has been told so many times of saying,
he completes me.
No, my sister, my friend, my lady. You gotta walk in as a whole 100% self, because if you walk in with this mindset of 50%, he's got your 50% and you are the other 50%, you are going to cause that man misery. You are going to give him a headache, because you have expectations that he cannot fulfill. He is not God. God is the only person who can make you whole. As long as you want to be whole, and as long as you know that you are not fully there, that you are not a complete person, you are not in a complete state of mind as you desire to be, you need to go to God crying and seek help, professional help, that is therapy. Seek spiritual help. Ask God to help you. What I want you to do, and do not miss this. You gotta get this right. You have to walk into your marriage as a person who is coming in with 100% of yourself, not with 50%, so that you can be a blessing to your husband and not a burden. Get that and get it right. Do not believe or don't buy into the lie of
he completes me.
No. You gotta be complete before you get into that marriage. Okay, sis? I want to hear from you in the comments below. What was your biggest takeaway from this video? If you are getting ready to get married, what is it that you are excited about as you walk into that marriage? If you're already married and you've been enjoying your marriage, tell me what's the fun part and how you prepared for your marriage. Talk to me in the comments. Remember to subscribe. Until next time, my friends, remember to do small things with great love. From my heart to yours. Keep it spicy.